Do we need to avoid foods with nitrates?
Ooh, that is a fascinating question because it also involves a really important point of chemistry, which is the difference between nitrites and nitrates. So nitrates are molecules that have a nitrogen with three oxygens attached, and nitrites are molecules that have a nitrogen with two oxygens attached. They are both used for curing meats, but it's nitrites and not nitrates that have been linked with increased risk, albeit fairly weakly, of some types of cancer, especially stomach cancer. So what happens when we consume nitrites is there's some chemistry happens inside our body, and it produces a class of compounds called nitrosamines. There's about 300 of them, and of the ones that have been studied, like 90% of them are carcinogenic, and it's thought that that could be why cured meats kind of show up again and again as not being health promoting in the long term, and instead increasing risk of cancer and increasing risk of all-cause mortality, a general indicator of health and longevity. So important things to know is that the magnitude of effect is fairly weak. There is some mixed data, and studies show that consuming an ounce or two of like deli meats that would contain nitrates, even if they're made with celery extract or celery powder, that is a natural source of nitrates. So consuming deli meat an ounce or two per day is not associated with increased risk of health problems, but above that amount, yeah, there is some studies showing that we probably don't want to be consuming a lot of them, that's probably not a great health promoting food. But also, these studies suffer from something called healthy user bias. In the case of studies looking at processed meats, it's actually kind of like the opposite. It's more like unhealthy user bias. And that refers to the situation where some type of eating pattern is so associated with other health related behaviors or other types of foods being consumed that it's really hard to untangle what is the effect from that one food versus what is the effect from that whole constellation of behaviors. So with processed meat intake, these tend to be people with social determinants of health that are not working in their favor. People who consume more processed meats tend to not consume as much fruits and vegetables, right? Tend to be not as active. So we don't really know like how much of that health effect is the nitrites versus how much of that health effect is this constellation of other factors. So avoid, no. Moderate, yes, probably. In the context of a mostly whole foods diet that's very focused on eating plenty of like fruits and vegetables and overall healthy lifestyle choice, I think that is a current question that needs to be answered in the scientific literature about whether or not there is, in that case, still a benefit to avoiding high nitrite foods.